and welcome or welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today we are going to be doing the All About series tag. This was created by Kevin over at Much Ado About Books. Now I wasn't actually tagged in this, but we know I love a good series, so I was like, I'm doing it. Now this is going to be controversial because a lot of people didn't count this as the first book, but it was the first book for me and therefore I'm counting it. But I'm going to say Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas. So Throne of Glass series, so much love on BookTube, and I was so excited to read them and start them. And I started them just a wee bit before I started the channel, or before I came on to the channel with Simon, and I was a bit nervous because I had been in like the biggest reading slump that I've ever been in my life. Like I really just fell away for reading and I lost my love of it for a good few years, which was sad and very unlike me. And so I was looking for books that were going to be everything that I loved, and I know this seems stupid, right, but I didn't know for the longest time that YA fantasy was really a genre that existed. I know I'm fucking dumb, but I didn't, and so I just knew that there were like similar types of books that I enjoyed to read, but I didn't know that they were like an actual genre. And so when I go book shopping, like I'd maybe pick up things that weren't quite for me, and that didn't really help my slump. And when I started consuming a lot more BookTube, I was like, right, so that's what I like, and that really helped me sort of get a wee bit back into reading, because I knew that there were certain booktubers that I could watch that were promoting YA fantasy books that would then help me find books that I would really enjoy. And Throne of Glass by far is one of the most hyped YA fantasy series, and I was like, right, okay, I'm going to read them. And Simon bought me them all. He got me them all in hardback, and he got me the gorgeous Nerdy Ink dust jackets for them, which I was just like totally buzzing about because they are super effing stunning. And I was like, better like them. And I was a bit nervous about going into them, to be honest, because like I say, I'd fell away from reading for so many years, and so like an 8-part series is daunting, and I was like, what if I just didn't gel with the characters? What if I didn't like them? What if like the world's too hard to understand? Like, and I was just like getting reading anxiety, which is ridiculous, but that's just how my brain likes to work and how it likes to play me. So I read Assassin's Blade first. There is sort of a divide between what people tell you to read first, and I went with reading Assassin's Blade first, and I'm really glad that I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Assassin's Blade is like essentially a collection of short stories that happen before Throne of Glass, but you get so much brilliant backstory. I say all the time, I am an instant gratification kind of reader, and if I hadn't read Assassin's Blade and I went on and I read Throne of Glass, like you don't really find out the entire backstory until maybe the end of Throne of Glass or the beginning of the next book. I can't remember which because it's been that long since I've read them. But if you read Assassin's Blade, you get to live through that entire backstory, and so that was brilliant for me because it meant that the, you know, sort of a no finding out and no knowing wasn't hindering my enjoyment in the book. So for me that was a definite perk. But I also feel like Assassin's Blade does a really good job of building up the characters and like building up the world, so that when you get into the other books, like it makes it a wee bit easier to understand. And there are some guest appearances for characters who are in Assassin's Blade later on in the series, and so I really liked like that sort of a cry back to the very beginning. I really enjoyed that, and I just feel like you have a lot more sympathy for the main character if you read Assassin's Blade first, because like Assassin's Blade will rip your heart out and so you go into Throne of Glass already a wee broken person for her, and I just really enjoyed that. It really enhanced my overall experience reading the books. I'm gonna say Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi, because like the way this book was marketed was like X-Men and it wasn't X-Men, it was like X-Girl, and she was annoying as all hell. Juliet was an absolute pain in the hoop, and I really didn't enjoy the first Shatter Me book. Like, I think I gave it 3 stars, but in reality, if I was to read that, that shit would be a 2. Like, it's so good. She was just very annoying, she was very immature, the romance was so juvenile, and I just really didn't enjoy it. I felt like her hormones had a lot to answer for, I feel like, in the first book, because she just flips and flops her feelings and her opinions based on what her hormones are doing that day, and like, same, but it was just very annoying, and I really didn't enjoy it, whereas I feel like the second book improved, the third book was dino, the third book was a 5-star for me, 100% enjoyed it. But aye, that first book was a fucking slog. Like, I don't know how anybody could read that first book and think it was phenomenal, because it was just like, shit.
Can I say something?
Yeah, say something.
That was shite.
Now this is a tricky one because I never finish a series. I'm going to say The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater, because The Raven Cycle was just phenomenal, and I felt like the ending of that book was brilliant. Like, it was just everything that I needed. I felt like everything wrapped up very well. I didn't have any unanswered questions, and I didn't feel like there was any glaring potholes, and I feel like I got to spend enough time with all my characters and for it to completely and utterly rip my heart out and then put it back together again. So aye, it was just a really great ending for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I feel like it would have been quite a challenge to end those books well, because the characters are just so amazing and so beloved that I feel like it would be difficult to write an ending for them and have people be okay with saying goodbye, and I just felt like it was done brilliantly. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and like, I had a good sob after I finished it, because it was a perfect ending. It was very emotional, and also just because I had to say goodbye to my pals in this amazing wee world, and I was really upset about it. Like, I felt like I physically missed these characters, and I think that that is just the sign of a superbly written series. This has got to be Off Triton by Anna Banks. It just didn't do it for me. I says in my wrap up of these books, or this book, that I feel like this one should have been the second and the second one should have been the third, because I feel like that wrapped things up a wee bit neater and a wee bit nicer. This third book introduced us to like an entire new world, a new host of characters, and like there was no tension throughout the book because we knew like it was the end, so like there was no really high stakes or anything, which just made the pacing of it quite off, and I just feel like it is a very risky and bold move to introduce an entire new host of characters in your last book, when like what I want out of the last book is to spend time with the characters I already know and love, and to like get the completion of their story. Like, I didn't care about these other people, like get them away, what they doing here. So this just wasn't it for me. I really didn't enjoy it, and it was by far the worst instalment of the book. The only bit of the book that I really enjoyed was the ending, and the ending was quite nice, but that could have been wrapped up at the end of the second book and it'd be a really stonking duology. Is it a cop-out to say Game of Thrones? Because like, I'm still sat here waiting on that next book. So for this one, I'm going to say The OK Witch by Emma Steinkellner. This is a graphic novel duology at the minute, and I'm hoping that there's going to be more in the series, because I have been thoroughly enjoying it and I just can't get enough. Like, I already want to reread these books, and I only read them this year but they are phenomenal. Our main character is a witch, and her mum was a witch, her granny was a witch, but she has only just discovered she's a witch. Her gay next door neighbour died and came back to life as a reincarnated cat that she keeps as a pet. Like, it's just amazing. They are really cute and really wholesome, but they also do a really great job of delivering some pretty tough, hard-hitting messages, and they can be quite emotional, and I really love them. I loved them both so much. They were both 5-star reads for me. I feel like I am forever recommending them on the channel whenever I can, because more people just need to read them. They are phenomenal, and so I hope that there's a third one. I hope there's a fourth one and a fifth one and a sixth one because I am just loving them. And like, I feel like I say this a lot on the channel, but I miss the characters and I want to be back in that world with my pals and just hang out again. Like that ultimately to me, right, is when it's a 5-star read, and like if I finish it and I miss the characters, that's when we know that the author did something special for me personally, because I feel it, like I feel the ache of missing that person and the longing of wanting to like go and hang out with them again. So them. I'm gonna say The Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. It should have just been a single book and it should have just been wrapped up better, and books 2 and 3 shouldn't exist on the face of planet Earth. I am not ranting too much about that because I feel like all I do is rant about the 2 books this year, but like, terrible. I binge read the Cruel Prince series this year, like they were absolutely stonking. I did one a month and it's no often that I'll just read a series back to back like that. In fact, it is pretty fucking rare. It is no something that happens, but I had to do it with those ones. I really loved them. I loved the world, I loved the characters, I loved the espionage and the drama. They were phenomenal. They were such great wee binge reads for me. I regret starting the Discovery of Witches series. I have a really difficult relationship with those books because I thoroughly enjoyed the first half of the first book, and if it continued on like that I could really love this series, but it didn't. It turned into some sort of a weird relationship drama with vampire babies and I just didn't like it. So I hated the second half of the first book. I only was reading the second really to see if it would pick up, and I DNF'd the second book and unhauled all 3. They were rotten. This is the Gunslinger series by Stephen King. I love Stephen King. Like, you know how much Stephen King I've got on my shelf. I literally talk about how much I adore Misery, like, all the time. But I just really didn't like these books. Me and Simon bought like the first 3 and we bought duplicates so that we could read them together, and like this is when we first started dating, and he was really cute and he made us wee matching bookmarks with like wee spreadsheet on them with like how much we needed to have read by when, and like it was just really fucking sweet, right? But neither of us liked it. Like we both read the first chunk and we were like, what did you think? What did you think? Because you know, it's that still early dating phase where you don't want to be like, this book you've picked is fucking shite. Like you want to be like, well, it's alright, I'll keep reading if you want to do that. But no, none of us wanted to keep reading it. Like it was terrible. We both ended up reading the first chunk twice because we were like, did we miss something? And like we didn't, and then I think we started the second chunk and we were just like, we have no clue what's going on. And my pal has read and really liked the series, and so we turned to him for some advice, and he was like, aye, the first one's shite, but like it picks up at the end of book 2. And I was like, nope, can't do it, can't commit, it's a long ass series, like no. Coming from me who has just started Wheel of Time when everybody literally says the same thing about Wheel of Time, and Wheel of Time is so much chunkier. But whatevs. I really love horror, as we know, and one of the tropes that I really enjoy are cults and culty books, and so for this I'm going to recommend David Sodergren's Satan's Burnouts Must Die, which is the first in a series that he is still currently writing. So the first is the only one that is out at the minute, but I read it recently and it was a 5-star read for me, and it is culty up the wazoo. The Satan Burnouts are a satanic biker cult, and our main protagonist is 70-year-old Sam, who needs to save his local town for these Satan's Burnouts, and it was just phenomenal. It was everything that I needed in a book, and like I would pay for this to get made into a film 1000%, because it would be my favourite film and Rob Zombie should direct it. I'm just saying. So like, David Sodergren, Rob Zombie, if either of yous are watching and you want to hit me up, like, I'll remortgage my house to finance this, I swear down. I don't feel like there is a series that I used to love that I didn't really love anymore. Like, I go back and I reread childhood favourites quite frequently. Like, I think I'm still a geek for everything I was a geek for as a kid. For this I'm going to say The Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth Nix. Now again, this is the first in a series, the sequel isn't out yet, but I'm so buzzing it's going to be a series because it was just brilliant. The characters in that book were just next level to me. I loved their dynamics, I loved their friendships, I loved their jokes, and I just love all the time I got to spend with them. And it was just phenomenal, and I already can't wait to read the second one as soon as it's out. Like, it was phenomenal and a really fun time. If you like a quirky character and a book with a really strong magic system that is like sort of set in a current modern world, magical realism I guess is the term for it, then I definitely check it out because it was just so good. I'm gonna go for my Throne of Glass series with the Nerdy Ink dust jackets. I will put a picture of them because they are still all currently in boxes because all your hardback books are still packed away because we're still waiting on progress with the effing library and I'm getting impatient about it. So I have a picture. I think it depends on the series, to be honest. This is the thing, right, is my brain is a shit house for a brain. Like, if I like a book too much, I'll want to space it out and no binge read it, but the urge to binge read it will be there. Like, but also if I like your book a lot, I will binge read it. I don't know. My brain doesn't know. It just depends. I don't think that I have a preference. It really just depends on life, on the weather, on what type of tea I'm drinking that day. I'm an unknown quantity. My brain just doesn't have a clue what it likes, what it doesn't, what it wants to do half the time. And I mean, I just let it run the show, so who knows. I've reread a lot of series, but one that I know I will definitely reread, but I haven't actually finished it yet in order to reread it, is The Invisible Library series by Genevieve Cogman. It wouldn't feel right doing a book tag, a book series, and no mentioning The Invisible Library. They are phenomenal and they are just one of the best books that I have picked up in a long time. They are brilliant and I now have them all on my shelf. And I can finish them at any time, but like my brain's doing that hang where I don't want to finish them because I feel like the last few books might break my feckin' heart and I am not ready, but I am also so ready. Like, but I'm sure I'll pick them up soon and I would definitely reread them at the drop of a hat because they are just such fun, feel good, cosy wee books. So I'm going to tag some people in this. So I'm just going to do it random and I'm just going to pick the last 3 people who have commented on my videos to tag. So I'm going to tag Phantom of Pages, Chloe. I'm going to tag Lauren Rathians and I'm going to tag Leandra the TBR0. Oh, and Lady Lovestead's right underneath. We'll make it 4. I'm going to tag Jess for Lady Lovestead reads as well. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!